Dame and Giannis teamed up. So after that, who are the top 5 duos in the NBA?
Okay, so
Start from 5 to 1.
Okay.
We'll go 5 to 1. My 5, I was torn because I did this last night. It's either Kawhi and Paul George or Tatum and Brown.
and one of them gets left off.
Or does one of them go to 4?
No, one of them gets left off.
Do you want to just name all the duos?
So
Top 5.
the Clippers, Kawhi and PG, Tatum and Brown, LeBron and AD, Giannis and Dame, KD and Book, Jokic and Murray. Those are the 6 that are in contention for this top 5. Someone has to get left off.
I think Jokic and Murray, by default, that Murray's the worst player on the list.
No,
I can't do that.
you gotta.
Honestly, that's how I looked at it.
I can't do that.
You guys know I'm a big Jamal Murray hater. I guess people want to call me a hater. They need to be on this list after the playoff success they had as a duo that we just fucking witnessed.
Yes.
They have to be.
and
Jokic
okay.
is that good that he
carry that.
by
boosts
himself,
Jamal Murray,
he's
yeah.
top.
They
top.
have to be in the top 5, no matter what.
Agreed.
I
who do you
think
leave
it's
off?
between the Boston guys and the LA guys of who gets cut. And in my opinion, I'm leaving off the Clippers guys because
I agree.
more recently, I've seen the Boston duo make deeper runs in the playoffs. Obviously, you have your concerns about Jaylen Brown, but at least Jaylen Brown's been healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah, I've seen the Celtics duo play basketball together.
Yeah. So I think at 5, that's where those guys go.
Okay.
My 4 is going to be Book and KD. Just for the fact that I haven't seen it long enough. Obviously, they looked great in the playoffs, but the sample size of them as a duo is, 20 games total between the end of the regular season and the playoffs? I just want to see more, and I'd have no problem moving them up. Dame and Giannis, I don't even need to see it. That's why I have them so high. We'll get to that, but I think the Suns are a good 4. Are we on the same page? Or
page.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you put them there because I thought it was going to be a different duo, and I was
No.
going to be sad about that.
At 3, here's where we put in Jokic and Murray.
Okay.
Jokic and Murray are great as a duo, but the other 2 duos that we're going to name, their number 2 option is just such a different tier of player compared to Jamal Murray. And I know the duo works great. The chemistry is great. The on-court product is great, but some of this also has to be about just name value and who these guys are as players and the tier of player they're in. So I think, me personally, I think 3 is the perfect spot for Jokic and Murray.
So I completely understand that, and I get where you're coming from. And look, in the end, I wouldn't have a problem with it at 2 or 3. But since the fact that I've seen it proven and I've seen it win a championship, I would absolutely put Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray at number 2 and Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo at number 3. Simply because I've seen the product on the court. They've won the title. And that's a big deal to me. If they didn't, I would completely say that it's clear-cut Dame and Giannis are the second best duo in the NBA. But, and you may even argue first for all I know, but given the fact that Jamal and Jokic have won the title, that is why I would place them at number 2. It's proven, it's worked, and it's already happened.
Okay, so the only argument that I'd use against you is I've seen Giannis win the championship without Damian Lillard. You then go ahead and add Damian Lillard. And I think it's as simple as that. I'm going to be honest with you. The drop-off between Jokic and Giannis is not as big as the
It's
drop-off
minuscule.
between Damian Lillard and Jamal Murray, dog. It's not even close. I know we like to talk up Jamal Murray, and I think the system that he plays in helps him out immensely. If Jamal Murray was not playing with Jokic, we wouldn't be having any kind of conversation like this ever. I think Jokic himself elevates Jamal Murray to a level that you're even able to have this conversation.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
But I still think Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm taking them 10 out of 10 times.
I agree.
I'll take my chances and not have to see it on court before I put them this high.
And that's
just because
fair.
I know who Damian Lillard is compared to Jamal Murray. I have the Bucks duo as the number 1 duo in the NBA. I have the Lakers at number 2. I
agree.
just think Dame and Giannis are that good of players as individuals, and their games are going to mesh so perfectly. I'd rather say that now and say they're the best duo in the NBA and be wrong about it than say someone else is the best duo because I'm that confident in them as a duo.
See, that's entirely fair, and I get that. And I understand the talent gap, but we're acting like Jamal Murray didn't just go into the playoffs and put up Dame numbers. Like I understand that he's not the player that Damian Lillard is, but we're going to act like he didn't just go into the playoffs and average an incredibly efficient, pretty much 27 points per game.
No, he did.
Like, that's a thing. So I know the talent gap is there. I get that, but is it really as wide as we think it is? Like, Jamal Murray really just went into the playoffs and put up numbers that Dame is putting up. Like, that's the thing. He did it when the lights were the brightest. He had his moments, and sure, you could say all you want about how Jokic makes him better, but who is he playing with? So we don't got a concern about him being on another team. We just have to worry about Jamal Murray is with Nikola Jokic. It is like a mind meld, and that is why it works as well as it does. So until I see Giannis and Dame, and I absolutely will pick the Bucks first and foremost to win the NBA title this year. I'm going to. But that still doesn't detract from me saying that the guys that we just saw win a championship are the second best duo in the NBA, behind the other team that has won a championship and the other duo that has won a championship in LeBron and Anthony Davis. So
I get where you're coming from. I do. I know Sleazy asked in the chat, like, are we comparing duos or players? Because it sounds like we're just comparing the players in the duos. That matters when you're doing stuff like this. When you're ranking the best duos in the NBA, the talent is so good that, like, you have to nitpick and really narrow it down and rank them as individuals. You also have to factor in how they play just as a duo. And that's why, like, Jokic and Murray at number 3 is higher because talent for talent, the two
Devin Booker and Kevin Durant is better.
Right.
Honestly, my original list, because I was thinking about as player with, it's not player A and player B, it's player A and player A plus. That's how I was thinking of it. And Jamal Murray is, in my opinion, neither an A caliber player or an A plus caliber player.
I just don't
I give him the B plus
anymore.
Because at first I had just strictly off talent, and I had Luka and Kyrie on my list.
I love. I'm sorry. Right before you go, I'm just gonna say I love what Jamal Murray did in the playoffs and what he showed.
He's your
towards the
guy,
end of the
man.
Regular season, bro. It takes away nothing of what I think about Jamal Murray. I just think Damian Lillard and Giannis. I'm taking that duo over Jamal and Jokic any day of the week, only because even what you guys were saying to me before the playoffs started, you guys wanted to see more of Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray has barely played over the past 3 years, and he did play this year, got off to a slow start, and he picked up towards the end of the year. But Damian Lillard has been consistently a top 10 player in the NBA for the last 7 years.
No, I'm not
And Giannis
disagreeing.
has been consistently top 3 at worst for the past 5
And Giannis
years.
has also won a championship without Damian Lillard, and he's adding a top 10
Right.
player.
And
I think that matters so much.
Deadpool says in the chat too that the defense matters. Obviously, Jokic and Murray, like what we've seen from them, the defense didn't matter because they were in such a great scheme, and the other perimeter defenders and guys they had around them covered up for them defensively at times.
Murray,
and Jokic,
they both
impressed.
played phenomenal defense.
You always do this shit where when you try to give players credit when we disagree with you, you gas them up to make your point. They didn't play phenomenal defense. They held their own defensively, and that's good. That's good because we used to look at them as negatives. We used to say Jokic will never win a ring because he can't play defense. He changed that. He changed that narrative, but he didn't play phenomenal defense.
I'd say Jokic was very good
The
defensively
phenomenal
throughout that
defenders
playoff.
are the guys who can win Defensive Player of the Year, make all defensive teams. That's phenomenal.
He played very good defense throughout the entirety of that playoff.
But Giannis, there's a case that Giannis is the single best
100%.
defender in the NBA.
But then Dame is the biggest minus of any of the defenders that we
Dame
just
is
listed.
definitely a minus, but that's the point. Giannis could cover for Dame in the sense that Jokic and Murray can't really cover for each other defensively. They're just... The both of them are just average defenders. Jokic probably a little bit better than average, but give or take, they're not the top of the top and they're not the worst of the worst. They're somewhere in the middle, those two guys. Giannis is the top of the top.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
So then I ask, how do they go above the others? Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
I think their offensive game matters too. I think LeBron and AD's offensive game just isn't as good as theirs is going to be. Their pick and roll, they are the perfect. I know LeBron is great in the pick and roll, but These two guys are the perfect pick and roll pairing.
Agreed.
You take the best pick and roll scorer in points per possession. So he's not just the best pick and roll scorer, but the most efficient pick and roll scorer from this past year. And you put him with this dominant freak athlete as the roller with unlimited spacing around them. Like, they're just offense. The argument for best offensive duo is between Jokic and Murray and Giannis and
Yes,
LeBron
100%.
and AD aren't even in that conversation. They're not. They're not.
And I'm gonna
And then KD and Book.
I'm gonna add
Right,
to that.
KD and Booker are in that
And I'm gonna say
conversation.
that, I don't think you could LeBron, Larai.
LeBron,
rely
Lillard.
rely on LeBron and AD. Their two scoring alone to go out and win you games and series. And what I'm gonna explain that as is the Lakers depend on a lot of other players on their team to put up points. I'm not saying the other duos don't, but I think that Giannis and Dame and Jokic and Murray both could, score their own offense and not have to worry about anybody else.
LeBron and
create
AD
their own
are
offense.
great. And they're great offensively, too. Like, I'm not taking away anything from them offensively. Dame and Giannis were the number 3 and 4 scorers in the entire NBA this year. They're both 30-point per game guys with, I think they're both 5+ assist guys. Like, offensively, it's not normal how good they're
No,
gonna be.
I'm with that 100%. I completely agree.
And LeBron is obviously a different stratosphere of defender in
Right.
comparison to
so
Damian
that was
Lillard.
another thing that I was going to argue as well. I mean, look, I think the defensive gap between Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Giannis and Dame is bigger than the offensive gap
100%.
between the two as well.
I agree with that, but something that Deadpool always says to us. Deadpool's actually, thank God he's in the chat. What a real one. But Deadpool's been saying this to us like from the jump, early on days. In today's NBA, offense just matters more. So if in a vacuum, the difference between LeBron and AD and Dame and Giannis defensively is greater than the difference offensively, the difference offensively has more weight, if that makes sense. Does that, you know what I'm
I
saying?
get it.
Like, it matters more.
Yeah. Like
So like it's like
yes.
on a 2x multiplier where the defense is on a 1-time multiplier where it closes the
I
gap.
get it.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And a lot of these teams have good defensive systems in place, and all the role players play into that as well. I think that matters when you're talking about a duo's defense. I think they're helped out by the other guys in their team.
I don't know. I feel like to an extent it's just,
Right.
can I stop a 6'9", 270-pound freight train on offense realistically? So I don't think it's...
Oh, you can't.
Exactly.
You can't.
So, and then Anthony Davis, the way he played in the playoffs, yes, it was on and off, but when I'm getting the great version of Anthony Davis, which it felt like I was getting that again in the playoffs, especially if he wasn't producing offensively, we want to talk about Defensive Player of the Year candidates. I'd argue Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the entire NBA, but that's another case.
He's
That's
coming
another
off one of
story.
the most historic playoff runs defensively we've seen.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I just personally, I don't think anyone can overtake that duo until I see someone actually overtake that duo, in my personal opinion.
No, Giannis and Dame, it is a lot of speculation, but I think it's completely warranted to speculate with them. They're that good of players. Obviously, the shit's all interchangeable, though. Like, these are the best. Of the
for
best.
sure.
I'm not mad at anyone if they have Jokic and Murray at 1, honestly, because they just won the finals and had historic playoff runs.
Agreed.
Like, there's nothing to argue against that. If you want to have LeBron and AD number 1, I can't really argue against that. It's fucking LeBron James. Even if you want to have Book and KD at number 1, you really can't argue against it.
Yeah, no.
You really can't.
No, not at all. So, yeah, in the end, I don't care where you guys have them. Like, I completely understand. I'm definitely more conducive to saying that Dame and Giannis are above Jamal and Jokic, though. But the LeBron and Anthony Davis duo, I can't put anyone above that.
So what's your 5?
So my 5, as much as it pains me to keep the Clippers off the list, we mentioned the fact that they aren't on the court enough together. So I have the Boston Celtics at number 5. I have the Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker at number 4. I have Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo at number 3. And then at number 2, I have the team that just won the NBA title, the Denver Nuggets, with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray at number 2. And then at number 1, the best duo in the NBA, LeBron James and Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers.
What's your 5?
At 5, I just changed this recently. You brought up a good point about Jokic and Jamal Murray, so I had to give them their flowers. I put them at 5. I originally had Luka and Kyrie there, so because I was going strictly off talent.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I just
Luka and Kyrie could be in this top 5 by the end of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
but they
lost.
Right now-
They did nothing but lose.
Yeah.
That's why I took them off the list.
Yeah,
Okay.
they didn't make.
But at number
that's
5,
why they're not on. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
At number 4, I have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
How are they above them? How are they
There's
of
vibes.
the that I can't
It was just vibes.
I can't
honestly.
argue that. No, that's just an
'Cause I
argument.
really don't have an argument. It was just vibes. I'm just telling you the straight truth. So, sorry.
Go for it. Go.
At 3,
It's your list.
At 3, I have KD and Book. At 2, I have LeBron and AD, and at 1, I have Giannis and Lillard.
Who's your 5?
All right, I got Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo at 5.
Wow.
I'm gonna take Book and KD at 4. At 3, I'm probably gonna stick with Chris's argument and go Jokic, Jamal Murray. 2, I'm gonna take Dame and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And at number 1, very clearly, I'm taking LeBron and AD.
I'm very happy that you took them at number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that, and I'm very interested that you picked the Miami Heat to be your number 5 because they literally just beat the Boston Celtics. So I think that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah, Jimmy and Bam have had a lot of success together, so
Yeah,
I'm with
real
that.
quick, just for the TikTok. My 5 is at 5, I have the Celtics duo, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. At 4, I have the Suns duo, KD and D Book. At 3, I have the Lakers duo, LeBron and AD. At 2, I have the Nuggets duo, Jokic and Murray. I just moved them up a spot. They should be number 2. And number 1, I have Dame and Giannis.